right. It's not National Chest Day, but it is my chest day. I came in yesterday to hit legs, and I got a little bit of, I kind of lucked out. So the way that I do my split, it doesn't loop every week. It loops every 8 days or so. So instead of having like the same week over and over and over, every week's actually a little bit different. Every Monday is a different workout than the last Monday. So that's something I'll get into in a second. But legs was actually pretty open because everybody was doing chest. So actually that worked in my favor. If yesterday was my chest day, I'd probably be, thinking, yeesh, just because I'd have to either wait for whatever machine I wanted to start with or just pivot a little more between whatever's open, and kind of be a little more free form with the workouts. Just with the workout in general. But at the end of the lift, I was talking to two guys where, fresh, more beginner dudes. They've been bouncing around. They know what they're doing. But we were talking about splits, and I think that's something where you can actually give yourself a little bit more cushion to have, maybe not more fun, but just less repetitiveness in your workout. Because the way that I look at it, I've got a bunch of old Google Docs. This is, back more like 2018, where I write out, I've got a split where it's like quads and tris, side delts and chest, rear delts and biceps, hamstrings and something, I don't know. Because in my head, I was like trying to make the most evenly distributed week possible. But I think what's more important is kind of highlighting, or maybe not highlighting, but just starting with the constraints that you want your workout routine to have, and then trying to implement it, because if you just sit with let's say a pen and paper, and you write out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're just looking at a blank sheet thinking, okay, what should I do? How should I arrange this workout? It's, that's kind of tricky. Plus, it's, 7 days. How do you evenly hit everything twice in 7 days? It's not an even number. So the way that I've kind of broken down why I do the split that I do is I've got, a few basic-ish rules. So one, frequency. I want to hit everything twice-ish a week. I haven't been minding hitting everything twice every 8 days over the last couple years. So that's kind of how I've been doing it. But for a while, I was just doing the Arnold split. Legs and shoulders. Now, sometimes I would skip shoulders because my shoulders are bigger than my arms are, so I want my arms to catch up. So normally, legs, chest and back, arms. Repeat. So, with a rest day, whenever necessary. And legs is solid, arms is solid. And I didn't mind doing chest and back on the same day because my back was a little bit overdeveloped at the time. Because when I was doing gymnastics in high school, or early high school, middle school, a lot of those conditioning routines that we were doing was like just calisthenic pull-ups. So, I had like a little bit of a lat spread, even 3 months into the gym, just because my back was already kind of there. So I would kind of back off on my back training. So my chest and back day would be like 70% chest, 30% back. I even had a few months this is a handful of bulks ago, I think before I even recorded any videos, where I just didn't even do back for like 4 months at a time because, my lat spread was solid. I wanted my chest and my arms and my legs to sort of grow and catch up. Now everything's in pretty reasonable proportion, so shoulders are still ahead, but in my head I'm thinking, okay, well, if I can do back a little bit more chill, well then legs, chest and back, arms, repeat. Perfect. But ever since I started really hammering back again, especially now, and this is only in the last like few weeks, that I'm doing a bit more back volume, just evenly hitting lats and upper mid-back traps as their own individual muscle groups. So instead of like 7 sets for my whole back, now I'm doing more like 7 just for lats and 7 just for upper mid-back. So back's a big day. So if I did chest and back with that same volume, let's just say it was 7 each. That's 21 big sets And if you were to, one way that I kind of look at it is if you were to essentially, put me on a butcher table and fillet me into every different cut, chest and back put together is probably more muscle than my quads and hamstrings combined. So a chest and back day is hitting more muscle than even a full leg day. So it just seems like a little much. Now, if you can hit chest and back in the same day and you feel like that's not taking away from your intensity and you can still bring it, well then solid, right? An Arnold split with a rest day at the end of 2 loops is freaking perfect. But I split them up, chest on its own, back on its own, and then, just kind of going forward like that, with rest days taken, whenever necessary. So with that volume, or with that frequency, by the time I've done about 7-ish sets, 7 or 8 for whatever muscle group that I'm hitting, twice every 8 days, so that's what, about 15 sets a week? That's kind of about right. It's enough where I can tell I'm still going as hard as I can, but I can also, recover enough between workouts to come back for the next one. So, give yourself these sort of rules. So what's your intended frequency? What's your intended volume? How are you going to orient that? Maybe if you're doing some kind of sport, now you can kind of chill. It's summertime. But let's say you're, high school, college dude, you're in football, you're on the football team, so you've got to work around the football workouts, which are legit, but they're a little bit more like sports specific. You're not getting an arm pump on your on your deadlift focused team lift. So that might be something where you've got to kind of like, okay, we do a really good leg day on Monday, we do an upper body day on Wednesday, and we do a full body, more active day on Friday, or something. I don't know what your workout routine could be. So if you're doing that, maybe you shouldn't do your own leg day right before the team leg day. Maybe you should kind of split those up so that if your team's leg day is on Monday, you save your own leg day for Thursday, or maybe a Friday, right? If you've got a game or something. So that's where it gets very person specific. So there really isn't just one, clear-cut answer when anybody says like, okay, what's the perfect split? Because it's kind of just whatever you can do and whatever you like, as long as the core components are there. Like I could come in and do triceps and hamstrings, or biceps and shoulders, and chest and calves, as long as my weekly's volume is just about that twice a week-ish frequency, then it doesn't really matter. I prefer the way that I'm doing it now. Like I'd want to hit my hamstrings and my quads on the same day, or just hamstrings if I need to let my quads take another day before they're recovered. I like doing my tris with my bis and have a full arm pump, but that's more of a preference rather than an actual like stimulative change. So don't freak so much about, oh well, what's the best split? It's whatever split you can actually lock in with. So try not to read into it too far. But if I could give you a recommendation, if you really are kind of torn and you're thinking, okay, I don't know what the hell should I do? Should I do full body every day? That I don't I don't think is necessary. I think it's a twice a week, 3-day loop with a rest day is probably your best bet, just as a general recommendation. So for that not to get stale, I think the best, let's just call it stereotypical split, is going to be a push-pull legs and then an Arnold split for the next 3 days. So Monday push, Wednesday pull, Monday push, Tuesday pull, Wednesday legs, and then I guess the next day would be what? Arms, then chest and back, and then legs again, legs and shoulders. I don't know, something like that. But PPL, Arnold split, rest day, that's solid, because then at least every day isn't the same. And if you really need an extra rest day, then if you do a push-pull legs rest, Arnold split rest, well then now it's that same loop that I'm doing where it repeats every 8 days. So every day isn't the same thing, right? So if you're the kind of guy where you say, well shit, everybody's doing chest on Monday, I don't want to do chest on Monday. I want to switch it up, right? Or, I mean, I really like how it doesn't make any Friday feel like it's the same Friday over and over again on a loop. Like if every Friday was a back day, I could definitely see how that might start to feel repetitive. And repetitive is not the feeling I want to feel in the gym, right? I want to feel excited. So anything that might add to, you know, let's just say a little bit of a boring, repetitive, just, you know, going through the motions feeling, I don't want involved in my training. So for me, at least, that's how I like it. But if you're the kind of guy where you want it strictly written out, perfect, every workout's already on paper, and you just go in and, you know, check off the boxes of a set-by-set basis, and that's how you like it, and that's how you've actually been making progress, well, then do that, right? You know, so that's where it's like you kind of have to figure it out for yourself. But there's so much info out there. I mean, shit, how many hours of dialogue of different training, you know, techniques and videos, and just even anecdotal like preferences, or like, you know, all you gotta do is kind of sit and watch some of these videos with a little bit of focus. I'm not saying mine, but those kinds of videos, and then just keep an open freaking mind. But yeah, that's all I got there. So plan for chest, potentially a little bit of a lighter squeezing stretch focus day. I'll see how I feel when I'm warming up. But historically, like over the last bulk, if I try to really push it super heavy bench every chest day, it starts to, you know, I kind of start to overdo it. I'll get a little bit of a twinge in my forearm. I haven't really felt any rotator cuff soreness because I warm my rotator cuffs up a lot better than I used to, but we'll see. I can tell by my sort of grip strength test, like just making a fist and really squeezing, I can put a lot of force into it. So I don't think I'm systemically fatigued, you know, at least, you know, not any more than normal. So we'll just have to see what happens. Or let the gym itself decide what movement needs to be first. Because if I go in and I'm thinking, you know what, incline bench, hell yeah. And then as I start taking a few steps, a group of 5 guys are working out kind of in tandem, and they're going to be there for a while. Like they got 4 working sets each. It's like, really, you're going to wait for 20 minutes? You're going to delay your lift? I just don't see it, you know. So if it's just one dude, I've waited. You know, I think you can wait 10 minutes, just warm up a little bit extra. But if you're really, you know, if you're already there and you're ready, just pick a new movement, right? Be open to pivot. So I think nothing else to say. Let's just get in there and get freaking started. All right. Let's go, man.
That's up. That's up. There we go. Ain't none. Yeah. You got that shit. You got about 8 more in you, baby. Let's go. Damn, bro.
Oh my god.
That's why I followed you.
Oh man, thank you. This should, I mean, this should be like 12.
12?
Yeah, at least. Like no lift off or nothing.
No lift off?
Nah, I got it.
Easy 12.
All right.
Easy 12.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Easy. 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 Come on now. Come on now. Easy.
Okay, pull it. Ugh. 2 heavy sets of incline, and that first set, that felt freaking sweet. So it's not as though I'm just like instantly stronger, which I guess you could kind of say would be like an accurate description. But I think what's really kind of adapting to let me even hit one of these are like these heavier sets for another rep than last chest day. Maybe I'm better rested, maybe I was more hydrated, but I think the main reason is just I've exposed myself to that weight before, right? I mean, mentally, once you do something, it's pretty easy to do it again, right? You've basically broken that mental barrier. And I think there's a pretty similar actual like physical angle to that. Or once you do, however much weight for how many reps, you're kind of training your, I don't want to say neural pathways, because I'm not really thinking that specifically, but you're just getting used to it. So you can do it again, right? And I think part of it is definitely mental, because, that's a freaking hefty amount of weight. But if I feel strong unracking it, I've got some extra mental confidence. Maybe it'll make me push out a few more. Whereas if I went into that set thinking, oh my God, no, it's gonna crush me, I probably wouldn't have even done the weight. But either way, let's do a squeezing, alternating 5-rep set of this press. So kind of turning my body one way and getting a really deep squeeze. So even though it's a little bit decline, I'm trying to pull my whole chest up and feel my upper chest fire. But no more talking. Let's make it happen. Oh, crap. All right, one more, but just double arm. Oh, then we'll move on. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's pick what I want to do next. What would you do? Would you do a fly or a press? I feel like that's 2 presses in a row, so I'm thinking fly. This will be good. Just a heavy fly. I'm not going to superset it into presses because I think I want to finish with presses. So just flies to failure. One more. A little lighter though. I don't think I can do 60 again. Let's do 50. Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, one more. A little quicker for this one. Okay. All right. Let's pivot to a press. We're nearly freaking done. All right. Same weight as that last set of flies, but a hand over hand press instead of just, regular fly action. Come on. Okay. That's a little light, actually. Let's go back to the 60. Obviously, you're stronger on a press than a fly. Okay. All right. One more. Just slightly lighter. Then we can go post down. Last one. Okay. Ooh, okay. All right. All freaking done. Ooh, let's go post down. All right, let's see if this changes anything. Camera angle at eye height. Normally I have this thing down at like bottom of chest height. So we'll see if that makes it seem a little more normal. But that's more of a me thing. Lighting, solid. Pump, exquisite. Energy, if it's not off the charts, it's close. Yeah, man, that was a badass chest day. And I thought I was gonna take a rest day yesterday. What am I, freaking nuts? So, highly contested topic, rest days, their necessity, their intended frequency. Look, man, I mean, if I'm saying it objectively and I'm trying not to be biased, I like to train, makes me feel cool. I like coming into the gym and throwing shit around. That adds to my day. That makes me, it's not that it makes me feel like I did something. It's more so I feel like I didn't do anything if I didn't do it. So, whether that's borderline compulsive or whatever other word you may want to use to describe it, it doesn't really change my perspective in that I just want to hit it. And if I feel fresh enough that I can come in and have a really good lift, well, what do you think I'm going to do? Right? Let's be real. What do you think that I am going to do? So let me, all right, let's see. Are we in focus? Sorry about this. I know it's fucking annoying that I mess with the camera. Yeah, there we go. All right, perfect. Yeah, so just standing, frankly, feeling like a beast. I think feeling like a freak might actually be a little bit of a more accurate statement. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. And that's what I want to see. So, what was that? Let's do a little bit of a set recap. So, 2 sets of incline, 2 sets of squeezing machine press, 2 sets of flies, 2 sets of presses. And for that last set of presses, I actually ran over to the dumbbells and did 10 reps of the 35s right here. So dumbbells hanging in front of my quads and then dragging my arm across my torso, really flexing my chest. Then once I ran over and grabbed the cables, those squeezing reps felt fucking nuts. So the way that I can gauge if that last set is like really fucking sweet is if I can tell that there is no like rest, stretch feeling during the reps. Because with cables, you can have really constant tension. Like it's hard to do a cable press and like launch the stack up into the air. If you've ever seen people do that, very stupid, but yeah, I mean, we've all seen it, or at least videos of it. So in that cable press, at the end, fully freaking pumped, I feel like I'm flexing my chest throughout the entire movement. There is no rest. It's just all adding to that overall sort of pump. And I mean, even just standing here, like, we got a relatively empty stomach because this is an earlier workout, but let me try and hit like just a standing vacuum shot. Yeah, that's good. So I don't want to lose this. Like, even though I'm getting heftier, I'm nearly 250. That's 250 with very visible like abs and sort of side striations and things. So I want to put size on. Of course, that's the primary goal of this off season. But I want that weight, that size to be contractile tissue. Not so much, I mean, let's just be honest, freaking blubber. Because I've been bulked. That's no surprise. I have been bulked before. But I think I may have spoiled myself into wanting to do a more lean bulk just because this last prep was so long. I've kind of like gotten adjusted to being, well, not even just lean, but like shredded. So I'm not gonna let that stop me. Like the temporary satisfaction of being lean isn't overpowering my desire for long-term strength and size gains, but it's playing a little bit of a factor, you know. But I'm no stranger to putting some body fat on. So if I can just mitigate that over these coming months, keep getting bigger and stronger, well, whoop-de-doo. Plus, I'd end up making more efficient use out of my food. What I've done before was bulk day 1, 5,000 calories day 1. Boom, 5,000 until I can't gain any more weight. But what I think is gonna work a little better, not that that didn't work, because of course I've gotten this big so far, but I think a little more of a tuned in approach is, right, here's my maintenance, which I think was like 3,000-ish after my prep, and then just creeping up from there. 3,200, 3,400, 3,600. And if I'm gaining weight at 3,400, whoop-de-doo, right? I'll save those 5,000 calorie days of like, you know, a pint of Ben & Jerry's after slamming a 10 ounce sirloin with a shit ton of fat on it. Save that for later, right? I mean, I've been grubbing pretty clean, you know. I mean, I'll have a treat every so often, but a lot of cream of rice. I'm getting spoiled with the raw cream of rice because I have some of the flavors that are unreleased yet, so keep an eye out for some of those. But a ton of cream of rice, ground beef. What else? I guess some canned chicken. But yeah, I haven't been really eating a lot of trash. I don't know, maybe it's just because I've eaten so much like that before, but like if I spent the rest of today and I ate a bunch of Ben & Jerry's, peanut butter cups, just a bunch of really fatty kind of cheat meal foods, it's just going to make me feel gross tomorrow. If anything, I'm trying to tone down my fat intake and just stick to like simple carbs, you know, and some sugars in there as well. Like when I'm doing cream of rice, my recipe is 4 servings of cream of rice, so 100 grams of carbs, 25 grams of brown sugar, and then about 20 grams of carbs worth of frozen blueberries. So cook the cream of rice, it's steaming hot, add the blueberries, stir until homogeneous, and then it cools down the cream of rice while thawing out the blueberries. So it's warm and it's actually edible. You don't have to sit here and burn your tongue every bite. And then add the brown sugar with each scoop. If you mix up the brown sugar into the whole thing, it kind of doesn't hit you as hard. So I'd rather just sprinkle a little on so that every bite has a little bit of brown sugar on top so that I can actually really taste it. That's one little trick for you. But nothing else to say. Was that the best chest pump of the year? I wouldn't deny it. Definitely in the top 10. So let's get in the freaking car and head home. There we go. Insane, incredible, personally impressive, enjoyable, fun, hype. You know, the list goes on. That was a good workout. Yeah, even just thinking back on that set is making me freaking excited. But I ran into someone extremely well adjusted, and I'm jealous. So I finished that set of 365. You know, I'm walking around, I get the tripod and everything. And, you know, this dude's 20 something. We were chatting for a minute. He's who spotted me on that second set. And he's like, so man, do you post, you like posting this kind of stuff? And I kind of, the way that I said this kind of made me sound like a brat, I think. But I was like, you never seen me before? You know, like, I didn't mean it like that, but I was actually just kind of, I mean, you know, the amount of Sam clips that get reposted, like, it's nuts how widespread it is. And he goes, nah, I'm not a social media guy. I just don't like it. And it made me, I go, what, you never heard of Clavicular? You never heard of Cookie King? And he looks at me, he's like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I'm upset that I know. There's so much like freaking brain rot that I'm tuned into. It's crazy. But he was cool. He was getting after it like a beast. Really, everybody in there was. I've kind of turned myself into not a recluse, but I've just been training in the cave for this whole last couple of months during prep. Partially just due to the fact that I kind of like it when I'm locking in like that. Just get in, hit my lift, you know, post down, get out of there. But when I'm bulking, or at least when I'm, you know, slightly above maintenance, growing, you're taking longer to rest, there's a social aspect of the gym that I was kind of missing out on. And it's kind of, I don't know, I think the main thing was just like ease of the workouts so that I knew I had all my equipment available. I could just get after it. Because my dieting workouts are a bit faster paced, but yeah, it's good to get around. There's so expect a bit more of that. Plus, off season, I need people to freaking spot me so that I can get a couple extra reps, or just not, you know, get freaking whooped on my way down. But whoa, there's some construction over by this airport that I have not seen before. I wonder what they're freaking doing. But awesome lift, cardio done. I do not mind post-workout cardio anymore. I definitely used to. Whoops. Can't pull that. No. This is a good distance, but I had to ramp it a little. But I definitely used to think morning cardio, evening workout, that's ideal, that's what I'm going for. But after this prep of doing morning workouts, immediate post-workout cardio, and then night cardio to add to it, now I'm not so picky, you know, and I think the answer is, as long as the workout and your cardio gets done sometime during the day, is really priority number one, right? What's the importance of doing your workout versus doing your workout at a specific time of day or a specific level of fedness, or however many meals you've eaten so far. Because in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I want to eat 5 huge meals. I want to be at least 3,000 calories into my day and then work out so I can be totally full. Whereas now, I'll come in, sometimes I'll even hit I don't want to hit a fasted workout, so I'm still hitting something, like I'm getting some cream of rice in the morning, but now I'm kind of just eating something lighter, because if I train in the morning, my logic is kind of that if I just had a whole bunch of food, maybe I had a solid meal before bed, then it's not as though I've woken up in the morning and now all my glycogen is like completely depleted. It's almost like I'm kind of residually fed from the day prior. So it's, take with that what you will. You also do just look cooler doing a pose down pumped with a slightly emptier stomach. So I'm not gonna say that fact isn't in play to make me want to come in for a chest day with just a smaller meal instead of doing like a night lift. But I think that probably just boils down to I'm kind of just on a morning workout kick, or at least an earlier workout kick, instead of going to like 8 or 9. I'm sure it's messing with my sleep too to have pre-workout at like 9 o'clock at night, do a workout, come home, eat a meal, and then go straight to bed at like maybe 11:30 or something. Because as much as I can if you've ever been here, then you know what I'm talking about. Like I've had a monster. This is back in school where it's okay, I've got to finish this thing. I don't know what it is, an essay, a project, some freaking MATLAB. All right, it's 10. Pretty tired. Okay, I'm gonna have a monster, or I'm gonna have I'm gonna have a little something. And then, well, you know what? I'm gonna lay down for a minute. Wake up at 8 in the morning. So it's not as though having caffeine completely mitigates my ability to sleep, but I think the quality of my sleep is definitely not the same as if I haven't had caffeine for, however many hours. So that's one thing that's probably a bit of a benefit to doing your workouts a little bit earlier in the morning, or at least just earlier in the day. And that's going to depend on your sensitivity to caffeine too. Some guys cannot have caffeine even past 6. Even like a cup of coffee worth like 60 grams of caffeine, or 60 milligrams of caffeine, and it's like they're up, they're wired. It's like they're not going to sleep tonight, kind of a thing. But yeah, what are we coming up on? It's today May 19th. So we're getting close. I'd say you'd probably say summer's in full swing by June. If I'm thinking of the 3 summer months, it's probably June, July, and August. And then starts to tone down. But yeah, school's out. Summer is in freaking session. So now that Mark's back, we're probably going to run around and not get into trouble, but just get into some activities. Once the public pool opens, we'll bounce around and try to hit a couple dives. I know you can still put me down for a 2.5, where you do in the diving board, you do 2 flips, and then you go in for a half of a flip and go head first. I could probably still do a 3.5 off the high dive, so get a couple bounces and then triple flip with an extra half, and you go in head first. But it depends on the pool. So this is probably not something you'd ever even think about, but if you're a diver and you're doing flips in the pool, even though everything's spinning around super fast, you want to be able to sort of see flashes of your surroundings so that like which way is up and where you are relative to like vertical space, so that you know how to time it, right? Like you want to imagine a person would be able to accurately do a crazy ass flip in a pitch black room. You kind of have to sort of see what's going on. So what kind of sucks with outdoor pools is usually the color of the water is basically the same as the color of the sky. So, it's like blue, 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 blue. All you're seeing is blue, and you don't really know where you're looking. The best pools are indoor. The only problem is all the pools that even have indoor diving boards, they're never open, because it must just be like a legal risk for them to just let anybody come on and do anything. But yeah, I think that's one thing I would like to see changed. So if you've got a pool that has like badass diving boards or and they're indoor, like a rec center or something, and you can just jump on there whenever the hell you want, I'm jealous. I am jealous, because that would count as cardio. Like back when I was in high school, I was only doing regular lifts. I wasn't doing any just treadmill cardio. But I would work out after school. Actually, no, I'd go straight to the pool. It's depending on the day. I don't know, but a lot of the times the schedule was like school's out at 2:30, and then I'd either head straight to the OSU pool to go do my little club practice, or I'd work out and then go. Sometimes the practices were like later in the evening, more like at 8 o'clock or something. But 30 minutes bouncing around the pool, swimming a little bit, getting up the steps, jumping in, swimming out, doing it again, and just like the action of bouncing around swimming like that counts as some cardio. So if you're not just sitting camping out on the treadmill or the seated bike, but you are doing some sort of athletics, like let's say you're running around at the just hooping post-workout, 30 minutes. If you're wearing like any kind of heart tracking sort of device, and your heart rate is like a steady 130 for that, however long you're playing basketball for, or soccer, or whatever you're doing, well, then that counts as cardio. It doesn't have to be stationary bike, pedaling, boring, Stairmaster, treadmill. You can kind of do whatever. The whole point isn't that you're sitting on the treadmill for X minutes and that once you hit X minutes, now your cardio is complete. It's that you had your heart rate elevated for that period of time. So it really doesn't matter what you're doing as long as that's the case. So if you want to do just whatever. But if you're not doing a machine, then you'd probably want to have something to actually track your heart rate, just so you know. So maybe you're slacking a little bit, nobody's passing the ball, your heart rate's getting down to 100. Well, if it's at 100 for 30 minutes, that's not the same as 130. So maybe try to get in on the action a little bit more. But nothing else to say. I'm going home a happy lifter, and I'm hungry. I'm fiending for something. I think I'm just going to recreate my freaking pre-workout meal with the post-workout meal. Slam some cream of rice with the blueberry brown sugar, and then probably pair that with like half a pound of ground beef, and I'll be good. Not at the same time. I'll probably just eat all the ground beef first and save the treat portion for second. But yeah, I will see you for whatever happens tomorrow. Whether it's a back day or potentially a rest day. We'll just have to freaking see.